Fire Emblem Three Houses is here. It's finally here. I've been ready and excited for this game since they said they were putting a mainline title on the Switch all the way back when it was supposed to release in 2018. They were close enough, I guess. I loved this series and returned to consoles while not sacrificing the handheld benefits thanks to the beauty that is the Nintendo Switch was so hype, and now we're in this. I've given myself a bit to play the game, and while I'm nowhere near finishing it, I thought I'd give you all my first impressions of the game and whether or not it's been what I've hoped it would be thus far. I want to give this game a proper analysis after I've done all the routes in the game, yes, all of them, but I didn't want to leave you all hanging for that long. I'm taking my sweet time with this game, so this'll do just fine for now. Anyway, enough talking. We've got so many questions to answer. How's the game been so far? Who's best girl, best boy? And what house did I pick? Man, I barely even started the game. There's already so much to talk about. Alright, hold up. Rewind. Let's start from the beginning. Without further ado, these are my Fire Emblem Three Houses early impression. Wait, hold on. Gotta update. Okay, we good? Nice. Right off the bat, I already know there's one burning question we have to get out of the way as soon as possible. Fire Emblem Three Houses, which house did I pick? Blue Lions, Black Eagles, Golden Deer, they've all got their different perks, stories to share, and characters to love. Gotta be honest, the closer this game got to release day, the decision only grew harder. As you all may or may not know in my Why I'm Hyped for Three Houses and crap video, I was sold on Black Eagles from Edelgard's brilliant design and Dorothea setting the best girl alarms right the heck off, but time skip Dimitri looks wild, making me want to know what the heck happened, and Claude is the chillest mofo in the series from the trailers alone, who's a black guy! How the heck am I supposed to pick one? The beginning of the game where you're reading all the character bios and interacting with each student from every house didn't help this regard either. In fact, it made it worse. So many distinct personalities and dynamics in every house. I wanted to chill with them all. Why do I have to pick? In the end, while the Blue Lions were attracting me more and more, it still came down to the Black Eagles and Golden Deer. As I tossed and turned, I did remember that I said in my video I would be an eagle. May as well have been a promise. But I was never good at promises. That's right, baby, I'm a Golden Deer! Alright, listen, Edelgard's story looks really interesting, and Dorothea is cool and all. Okay, she's hot, alright? She's hot. But I don't want to base my opinion on a waifu, and Edelgard honestly doesn't pull my attention as much as the best boy Claude. Claude is just too cool, dude. I love this guy before I even started the game due to that charming smile and perfect voice. We'll get back to the voices, but Claude, my dudes. Other than the shining force that is this guy, I was simply much more interested in this house cast than the others. The Black Eagles, to be honest, weren't doing it for me as a whole, as I was thinking even the Blue Lions had a tighter group. Even still, Golden Deer came off to me as a family who loved bickering with each other and was chock full of distinct and recognizable characters. I understand that you can recruit characters from other houses if you so choose, but I found myself wanting to stick with my deer. I was very tempted to bring Dorothea over, however, I ended up not caring as time passed by because I was satisfied with the characters I already had. I got her over eventually because I thought she was a songstress, but she wasn't, so guess she's chilling on the bench now. I don't even want to romance her anymore because literally everyone else is. What, you thought I wouldn't notice? I almost slipped on you all's drool over her walking in here. All you peeps using her more than anyone else, the constant post on twitter.com, she's mainstream, the norm. I don't conform to the norms of society. I'm a black YouTuber who doesn't know how to black, and I sit around playing video games all day. What about me is normal? I'm gonna find a new girl, one that a million people aren't romancing, and it will be amazing. So, yeah, I picked Golden Deer. Why don't we do some actual critiques now? This game is jaw-dropping in terms of its art style, aesthetics, and that color palette. The characters express themselves so well, look very close to the renders, and combined with the colors, it's very easy on the eyes. Then there are the character designs, which go off, dude. Being that I'm mainly referring to the school portions of this game and don't want to spoil the designs not shown after the time skip, it's crazy that everyone is still so easy to recognize. I was even a big fan of the CG cutscenes. In all honesty, I do miss the animation team that did these types of scenes in Awakening and Fates, as I still hold those as the best looking cutscenes in the series, but these are definitely a step up from Shadows of Valentia. Not to mention, now that the game's in HD, they're cleaned up and sharper. Animations in them are so much more fluid and believable, which all combined together make them just as visually appealing as Awakening and Fates CG, only for different reasons. All that being said, there are quite a bit of technical problems with this game's visuals. Some of the characters' hair would spaz out when characters are in motion, on top of clipping through arms and hands or whatever. A few textures on the characters look fuzzy too. All of which I'm mentioning is easy to notice because the game gives you a bunch of moments to view the character models up close and personal, so if that were the intent from the start, these should have been given more time to be cleaned up. Moreover, I wish the game had more animations and cutscenes instead of fading to black when an action was being done or simply being implied. We're on the Switch! We shouldn't have to pre-render especially load a scene to have characters doing more involved movements. Also, lip syncing. It's non-existent, and that's hilarious. Even playing the game, there's some jank I noticed regarding the visuals. When transitioning to an attack animation in combat, sometimes character weapons wouldn't load in time, and instead of holding an iron spear, they'd have an invisible one. And even when walking around the school grounds, there'd be poor draw distance and poppin' with all the students and landmarks to load at once. It's clear that Three Houses is pushing the Switch to its absolute limit with everything it's trying to do graphically, and the hardware can't always keep up. Technical stuff doesn't really bother me as much as you might think though. I just believe it's important to talk about these things and acknowledge what could be better in the areas you feel are necessary and aren't to be a good critic, as you never know what could matter to someone else. This game goes for a timeless look I know I'll appreciate for years to come, and even if it doesn't perform as well as it arguably should and could on stronger hardware, I was very pleased with this game's visuals. But hey, we can all agree that everything regarding sound freaking kills the presentation game because geez, where do I even begin? Voice acting, it's back, and just like Shadows of Valencia, it's simply fantastic. I'd say even more here. It was so cute looking at all the voice actors revealing themselves as characters a week before the game released and reading about how excited everyone was to be a part of Fire Emblem. Special shoutouts to Claude's voice actor Joe Zija, who could not stop talking about how hype he was to play as Claude. He helped make me even more excited than I already was for the game. The energy was contagious, and he may or may not have pushed me that little bit to pick the golden deer. Oops. If there's one little thing surrounding the voice acting I wasn't a fan of, it was the fact that Baelith was a silent protagonist who never spoke their lines of dialogue players would choose. It was especially baffling when there was just one choice to keep the conversation going. They may as well have just recorded the line and played it out through the scene. He can talk, so I'd much rather have had more speaking instead of doing those same 3 nods and head shakes. Much like Exilia's soundtrack though, if my biggest complaint from voice acting is that there should have been more, that's an achievement, especially considering how much there already is in the game. Not counting Baelith, I haven't run into a single line of unspoken dialogue, even in the optional side quests and support conversations. That's crazy! Not to mention amazing because of how solid the performances are the whole way through. It's so lame when you run into a scene in the main freaking story that just doesn't have voices for whatever reason, so it pleases me that Three Houses doesn't have that issue, and then some despite its gigantic size. So much love and passion was given in this area, and you're darn tootin' it didn't go unnoticed. What's that? Not good enough? You mean to tell me you need another top tier soundtrack to be thrown into the mountain of great Fire Emblem OSTs? Well, alright then. I can only assume I'm a fraction of the way through this newest installment in the franchise, but the music I've heard already, holy crap. Of course, you're just hearing music from the Fire Emblem Premium Arranged, because people can't chill with the spoilers and everyone's gonna be the first to upload that finished save file, so it's impossible to find songs from the game without accidentally running into a super spoiler in a thumbnail. But take my word for it. Believe me when I say that what I've heard is already really great. Actually, no. Listen to one of the 3 songs I managed to grab without getting spoiled. The battle preparation music. It's catchy, memorable enough that I'm already humming it when doing personal business, and calming so that I can position my units and strategize how I'll approach the upcoming chapter. Sorry, I told you to listen. I'll shut up now. That violin gets me every time, dude. The major battle theme you hear in the beginning portions of the game is also really good, not to mention different. It's not every day you hear drum and bass in Fire Emblem, but it fits, is memorable, and sounds good. Three Houses, if anything, proves it's okay to do its own thing and be different so long as it upholds the quality we all associate the series with, and the music at the very least emphasizes that mindset. Casual reminder, we're this deep into the video and I've only talked about presentation. This is the first impressions video for crying out loud, I gotta get a move on. I'm digging the story a lot thus far. The lore and world building is phenomenal, and I love how much there is to learn and become invested in throughout Fodlan. Not to mention it hooked me very quickly with a dope cutscene to set the tone and wow you with its slick animation. To be honest though, after that and for a bunch of the school portion, the game's story moves at a crawl where you're given a mission to do at the beginning of the month you're currently in, and you do said mission at the end of the month. Keep in mind, the missions and the scenes that precede and follow it are where the story tends to move forward. Even then, for quite a bit, things don't move at too reasonable of a pace. It should be one of the game's biggest downsides, and I guess it technically is, but I never cared about this while playing the game. That's because there's such a focus on spending time with your students and getting to know the characters on a deeper level than ever before that I never thought about what was supposed to happen next. I wanted to get to know my deer. Apparently, this is somewhat inspired from another JRPG series, but I can't really think of anything at the moment. Would be a dope concept though, somebody jump on that. that. Gameplay mechanics such as eating with them, attending choir practice together, and straight up teaching the kids how to kill a man all work toward helping the player become invested with the crowd they chose to surround themselves with. And because of how much time I spent with them, so what if the main conflict hadn't yet become apparent? So what if I didn't have a goal for about 10 hours of my playthrough? I still had so much to learn about these personalities, and that was more than enough to keep my interest for even longer than necessary. For those of you curious, my favorites were the best boy Claude, the lovable dingus Lawrence, my sister Lysithea, and the true best girl of Three Houses, Hilda. I freaking love Hilda. She's so lazy and manipulative and kind of a jerk at times, but deep down she's so kind to her classmates, so animated and fun. Not to mention does her part when push comes to shove. She's a jerk with more to her, and I love that so much. Oh. Hey, how's it going? Okay, bye. Gotta talk to Hilda now. When a story does finally get moving, it's really great and only added to my enjoyment I was already experiencing thanks to the incredible cast of characters. It's way too early to say, but I've got a darn good feeling that this is gonna end up as one of, if not my favorite cast in the series. The Golden Deer just clicked with me, same with everyone else. There are so many layers to each character with gobs and gobs of support conversations to heighten their development and depth. I know every Fire Emblem always had supports, but none of them were on the same level of writing quality as here. I haven't seen a single support conversation I didn't like, and I've gotten plenty. Thanks to all the new gameplay additions, it's way easier to see a bunch of these in one run without going too out of your way grinding them out. And with the sheer volume of them, on top of being completely voiced by you, it blows my mind how clean they all are. Character dialogue always comes off naturally, and these supports don't waste your time. You're always finding out something new about someone, and two characters are developed through a conversation in ways the main story wouldn't be able to since it detracts too much from what's going on or is about to happen. Objectively speaking, I would have loved if the story had started off moving a bit faster, but the characters are most important to me in a narrative, so I'm chilling. Besides, apparently the school life isn't even half the game, so I can't wait to see how things escalate once I'm past that time skip. And how cool is it to even say that? In this one cartridge, this one awfully tasting Switch cartridge, there's still a whole 2/3 of the game to discover because of how little they showed in the trailers. What a concept! These characters have so much depth that they have more growing to do as adults. What a concept! There are 2 whole other campaigns to go through after one route that could potentially be as long as Xenoblade Chronicles. What a concept! This story's got me and I'm barely scratching the surface. I'm impressed, I'm excited, and I'm so ready. But how about that gameplay? You know, the thing that matters most in the series and arguably every game ever. Short answer, yeah, it's good. It's real good. Long answer, well, sit down for this. For an early impressions video, it turns out I've got a lot to say already. The gameplay is fire, straight fire. A big part of this game is exploring the monastery, chatting with your students and faculty, taking part in daily activities, and teaching your class alongside standard strategy RPG gameplay, with said activities directly affecting your unit's performance and combat. 2 very different gameplay styles heightening one another, a calendar system, a silent protagonist who you control through dialogue options and leading the main party? Seriously, how's that never been done before? It always puts a smile on my face to eat a meal with the boys, go fishing, and have a delicious cup of tea with best girl Hilda rewarded with a, research cam. Hey, at least we can't pet the characters, so I guess this won't cause controversy in the fan base. These events are great already, being that you get loads of buffs and extra affinity for your characters, but on top of that, there's simply a lot of fun to do, so much so that I never want to rest. I've always got to do something with my day, and that rush of managing my time to squeeze everything I can out of this game is a feeling that more games should have. Walking around the hub world where these activities take place also proved to be a lot of fun with the characters to talk to in your environment opening up more and more as time progressed. Again, this is another example of the game trying to run way more than the Switch could handle though, as there's a ton of lag and parts of the map will occasionally need to load whenever you reach them. It was jarring to say the least and takes you out of the game's otherwise incredibly immersive world, but once it's over with you hop right back in, so take that as you will. Even the teaching portions are a lot of fun. I was admittedly very overwhelmed by this just from everything the game was saying you could do with it and worried I wouldn't know how to figure out the rules of the classroom. In actuality, it's so simple and was solely there to give your characters even more buffs while mastering their weapons of choice, all leading to developing into more classes. Classes play such a huge role in this game, and boy oh boy do I love that. In Awakening and Fates, I honestly felt that the class changing was a forced inclusion to throw in more customization on repeat playthroughs. I never felt encouraged enough to switch Lucina to a bow cavalier because that made no sense to me. I don't know, I simply wasn't inclined enough to do so, but here, choosing how and in what way your students and faculty develop their fighting styles into different classes is the name of the game. You determine from the get-go where characters will focus their studies, so the loose nature of how the cast can grow makes sense and encourages me to experiment and lead my class the way I want to. Classes simply work a lot better in this game in terms of customization and usefulness. Then when you finally get to the tried and true Fire Emblem gameplay that made us all fall in love with the series, it's so good. This game plays amazing. And man, does it feel good to say that. Hit rates, weight, attack power, evasion, and all that good Fire Emblem crap is here and accounted for, with more additions that feel right at home. The battalions, while taking some getting used to on my end because I was a dum-dum regarding them, are so cool and add more options you and your opponents can use in battle, further growing and enhancing potential strategies. Skills make a return, feeling just as at home as before, with all new combat skills. At least I think they're new, but they might be in some Japan exclusive I haven't played yet, oh well. They were cool and that's what's important. Healing and attack spells were handled a lot different this time around too, being that they have smaller amounts of usage in battle, but they replenish at the end of every match. I enjoyed this unique take quite a bit, and that reminds me, weapons can break again! The game also gives you more tools at your disposal to prevent the death of your characters, with the most prevalent ones being the glorified undo button in case your hand slips, which I love, and the fact that the game shows you which one of your units the enemy will attack when they're in range. The mindset of keeping the player and the enemy on equal footing is front and center once more, further emphasizing that strategy above all else is what will determine what side comes out on top, as it should be. That's what I thought this series was all about, and if anything, well, on top of characters, story, and music, is what pulled me into this crazy ride in the first place. Crazy ride. Together we rock! It pleases me to say that all these elements make for, in my opinion, the cleanest gameplay thus far, with its share of issues. Actually, there are only two big ones. First off, I don't know how many times this will pop up over the course of the game, but who the hell asked for fog to come back? It's just as annoying and unfair as before. You don't know where the enemies are, but they know where you are, regardless of the game swearing they don't know your location, and that gives them an unfair advantage. I've rarely run into this so far, but I was not happy to see this back at all. The second, I'm not sure if I'd even call an issue, to be honest. It's just weird. I'm of course referring to the lack of a weapon triangle, as I'm still iffy on this, much like Shadows of Valencia. On the one hand, weapon advantages were a whole layer of strategy that almost determined if you would come out on top, so it's odd to simply omit something so darn important in past games. On the other hand, I don't think I miss it that much. Heck, it took me a couple of chapters to even notice. I went after which weapon would be stronger against another as a force of habit, but when I noticed my units were doing well against weapons they should have had a disadvantage against, I simply replied with, oh. It made me realize that this game incorporates so many other things that require strategy in different ways that the game didn't need this on top of all that. Weapons of varying types have different aspects still, it's just that there isn't a rock, paper, scissors element anymore, and that's okay. Especially because it allows for more weapons to join the fray, with the frontrunner being gauntlets that fit right in and are incredibly fun to use. It's funny, I said they were my major problems, but in the grand scheme of things, these two things don't matter. Thus further emphasizing my previous statement, this is one of, if not the cleanest gameplay thus far in the franchise. I love the story, adore the characters, can't stop looking at the game, am tempted to dodge spoilers so I can listen to the game, and I'm obsessed with playing it in every fashion. My issues are there and have been addressed, but I could care less with all the greatness going on. This game is so good, it makes loading fun. Loading! Tilt that controller side to side to make this little guy run around and you'll forget about the admittedly lengthy load times in a heartbeat. In the end, the love and care poured into this game make it the fantastic time that it is. And keep in mind, this is an early impressions video. I have so much game left and my thoughts are already this great. I'm still gonna go through the game with an open mind, as it's very possible for it to lose me by dropping the ball in the end, but I had faith in this game before it came out, and having played it for as long as I did, I think it's safe to say that Three Houses is gonna end up right in the top tier with the likes of Blazing Sword and Path of Radiance. I'm so excited for what's to come, and I can say without a doubt that this game killed it with early impressions. Can't wait to meet you all on the other side when my journey with the Golden Deer comes to its end. Oh shoot! This game was inspired by Persona! Holy fuck! Thank you so much for watching the video, it really means a lot to me. I have social media you can find me on in the description below, including a Patreon, but above all else, I'd like to ask that you share this video around if you liked it. I'm a small YouTuber boy and want to grow a ton, so allow me to be selfish and ask for your help to do just that. Whether you do or not, your support getting this far in the video is greatly appreciated in of itself, especially to my patrons who support me on a level I can't thank you all enough for. Hopefully doing so verbally will suffice though. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to Alex520, Ben, Cleric Eric, Comic Foil, Corbett, Floragrar, Forever Fizz8, Gaius, Gentleman Gamer, Jacob Horner, James V, Katie, Kiara, Kibby7, Ludom James 115, Logan, Max Hockman, Michael Douglas, Mitchie, Neolab, Renegade Master, Scott Appleman, Sean McTagg, Soul, Steve Appleman, Tex-Mex, and Xenolith. You guys are the best, and so are you, the viewer, for watching me and giving my stuff a shot. Have a great day, drink plenty of nice, refreshing water, and I hope to see you in whatever comes next. Bye-bye!